Hello my loves, welcome back to my channel. This is Ro. Although you might not recognize me, I did not cut, straighten, and dye my hair. This is just me having some fun and switching up my look, and to be perfectly honest, it's because I have a hair appointment tomorrow and my roots are real. So why not embrace my inner Chloe and just have some fun with some wigs? I don't know, do you like this look? Give me a thumbs up if you like this look. If you're not that big of a fan, in the comments, let me know. I know a lot of you guys are new here and you came over from my friend Jess's channel because you watched the video that I did with her over there. And today's video is kind of a spin-off of that one. When I was at lunch with Jess and we were prepping for that video, she was asking me a couple of questions. And one of the questions that she asked me was if I was mad at Adam or if I resented him at all for not taking the plea deal. And I answered her then, but then we were just talking in the video and we kind of went in a different direction, and then Adam called, so I never got a chance to answer it there. And I figured I would come in here and I would explain it to you because what a good question. So let me explain the background of my husband Adam's case and his crazy long sentence if you're new here and you don't know that background. Adam is serving a 213-year sentence in federal prison due to mandatory minimum sentencing laws. Nobody was physically hurt during the commission of his crimes, but when he went to trial, the judge's hands were tied. He had no say. It was a mandatory sentence. He had to give it to him. Adam and his co-defendants were offered a plea deal. They were offered a contract from the government where basically in exchange for them snitching or ratting or rolling on one another, whatever terminology you want to use, in exchange for that, then they would get less time or no time at all. Adam had 4 co-defendants. So there were 2 co-defendants that cooperated. They went along with the government's plea and they served no time at all. There was a 3rd co-defendant who I believe got around 80 something years. There was a 4th co-defendant who was acquitted on a lot of the charges, served 10 years. And then there was Adam, who was named the mastermind and the ringleader in this whole ordeal. He refused to cooperate with the government. He refused to take their bogus plea, and he wound up with the most time, serving 213 years. And just a side note before we get started and I talk about the plea, the jury had no idea how much time he was facing. That, I don't know if you guys know, I recently learned that the jury has no idea how much the person that is up there for, how much time that they could potentially be sentenced to if found guilty, because it could affect them deciding their decision and their opinion on if that person is guilty or not. And there was a juror that came out after Adam's case, after his trial, and said, if I had known that that man was being sentenced to life, to that much time, I never would have convicted him. So just let that sink in for a second, and then we'll keep going. Before we keep going, really quick, if you guys could do me a favor, if you appreciate that I'm sharing Adam's story, if you like this content, please go ahead and give this video a thumbs up so YouTube knows to share it. Thanks. So do I resent Adam? Am I upset with him for taking the plea? All of these years later, do I harbor any feelings towards that? And I know this answer might be difficult for a lot of people to understand, but no, I don't. And I am not just saying that for the camera. Here's the thing. First of all, that shows Adam's character. That shows his morals and his values. Part of the plea deal that they wanted him to sign off on was to incriminate people that he had never met before, people that he didn't even know. They said, look, we're just trying to put these kingpins, these ringleaders in jail. So all you have to do is tell us that you were at such and such place at such and such time with such and such people. And he said, I don't even know who those people are. They said, who cares? You could do a life sentence, or you could just help us out here, buddy. No. So they were like, okay, we're going to give you some time to think about it. It's a really long time. And they left him in this small little room, just him by himself, handcuffed to a desk. And they said, we're going to let you think about it. And they left him for hours. They didn't feed him. They didn't give him any drinks. Nothing. They left him for hours, and he said he could hear them walking by the door, and they would stop in every once in a while and say, just peek their heads in. So, you gonna take the deal? Nope, he would say. Man, you're stupid. And they would walk out the door. We're gonna give you some more time to think about that one. Adam said that he has never felt so alone and so scared, so angry in his whole entire life. But he said the one feeling that sticks out to him and haunts him to this day is how alone he felt. He felt like he had nobody else. This was his rock bottom. He said that he heard them. He could hear them outside of the door talking. Handcuffed to a desk, he said he pulled that desk over so he could hear. He put his ear up to that door and he could hear what they were saying, but he couldn't. So finally they came in and they were like, all right, dude, last chance. Are you going to take the plea? This could get you off of a life sentence. You don't understand. You're facing 213 years. This is real. This is life. There's no parole in the feds. He said, no, not doing it. So shut the door. They said, you're done. Go back to your cell. We don't even want to bother with you. And that's what happened. It was hours. It was a whole entire day. So do I resent him for that? No, I don't. I can't, because it shows his character. He wasn't about to turn around and incriminate people that he didn't know, that didn't deserve it. Adam knew that if he played with fire, eventually he was going to get burnt. He knew that a potential in doing these crimes was having to serve time. And so he was manning up and taking responsibilities for his actions. He wasn't putting them on anybody else. His co-defendants that wound up snitching and taking the deal, they're gone. They had no time. I think they were both put in witness protection. And the last time I heard, one was serving a life sentence somewhere out in California or something. So I guess it didn't deter that guy from a life of crime. It just kind of prolonged it. Do I have any feelings about that? Karma? That's all I'll say about that. But no, I can't resent Adam. I don't resent Adam. First of all, it is proof of his character. It is proof of his values and his ethics and the man that he is. Adam is the most loyal person I know. He's met his match with me, I'll tell you that much. He's the most loyal person I know. And he would never, ever make somebody do time for him. He would never let somebody pay for his mistakes. He wouldn't incriminate somebody he doesn't know. And plus, let's be real, that's just going to get you in trouble on the street. You don't snitch. That's not part of what you do when you're involved in that lifestyle. It could be dangerous. Anyway, that's not why he didn't snitch, but it could be dangerous. So that, and then also, Adam and I were changing lives. It's time for this to be over. It is time. He's served more than enough time. But also throughout the duration of this time, we've both come so far. We've both learned so much about ourselves, about one another, about helping people in this community. We've found our voices. Adam uses his 213-year sentence to his advantage. If he says to somebody inside, dude, I have 213 years, all of a sudden they perk up. They want to listen. He's a lifer. He's an old head at this point, although somebody called him an old head the other day, which in prison just means you've been around for a while. You're an elder. And he said he hopped down off the pull-up bar and he goes, who are you talking to, me? We're old heads at this point, but he can use that. So in prison, the more time you have, the more credibility you have. It almost seems to other people that they respect you more because you have enough time. You have a certain amount of time. In the street, people respect you for how many years you've served, how much time is under your belt. It's the same thing on the inside. So he can say to a whole new group of people when they come in at admissions and orientation, they're all kind of kicked back, not listening, not paying attention, wanting to go to sleep, wanting to leave. And when he gets up there and it's his turn and he says that he's a lifer, he has 213 years, they all sit up, perk up, and want to hear what this dude has to say. And then out here, I could do the same thing. When I'm coaching and training and helping prison wives, I can say, listen, sweetheart, if I could do it with 213 years, what's your excuse? So we use it to our advantage. And again, it is so time for this to be over. And yes, it is a fight every single day. And times it's the most difficult thing I'd ever have to go through. But I wouldn't exchange that for him to have taken a plea. My life could look very different. It probably would look very different. Who knows if we'd even be together though? You don't know, and you can't live in the could have, should have, would haves of life. And that's a lesson, yes, for prison wives and family members, but that's a lesson for anybody who is living life on this earth. You can't live in the what would my life have looked like if X, Y, and Z happened? You have to live in today forward. You have to believe in the power of right now, how I'm going to live my life today to make sure that I have the most beautiful tomorrow, that I am securing my future and my happily ever after. So with me and Adam, that is us fighting every single day to get this overturned. And we're not stepping on anybody's heads to get ourselves there. We're not hurting anybody. We're not lying on anybody. We're not snitching. We're not incriminating anybody. We're doing this in the way that jives with our values, that jives with us. Now, I am not saying if your loved one or if you have ever taken a plea that there is anything wrong with that. If you've ever quote unquote snitched, that there's anything wrong with that. Over 70% of people inside of prison nowadays have taken a plea deal. It's not like it used to be. It used to be years ago where people would ask for paperwork, and they still ask for paperwork. I'm not saying that they don't, but people would ask for paperwork, and if there was anything that alluded to the fact that you cooperated with the government, you would get driven off of yards, you would get hurt potentially, or something worse. You would have to be forced to check in, etc. But now things kind of have changed a little bit, not all the way, and not with all of the old heads, old school prisoners, and not in the very, very high supermax and max securities. It might run that way, but a lot of times in the newer places or in the mediums or the lows or the camps, people just look away, and they have changed those prison politics rules because so many people take the pleas because of things like Adam, because of these crazy longer than life unjust sentences and these mandatory minimums, etc. So I'm not disrespecting you. I'm not talking crap about you. If you did what you had to do for you, or if your loved one did what they felt was best for you and for them and for your relationship and your family, etc. I am just explaining why Adam didn't take the plea, why he didn't quote unquote snitch, and why I am totally perfectly okay with that. I am not mad at him. I don't resent him. I don't regret any of it. But now it is time, 100% time, for this to be wrapped up, resolved, and for him to come home. You guys keep staying strong, keep loving strong, keep supporting one another through this journey, because you're one day closer to it all being behind you. Lots of love from my heart to yours. I will see you beautiful ladies and gentlemen in the next one.